hurry up even if you won't. There's no I in team, but there's a M though. Me, myself alone, making it happen till the end though. And so.
Hi, my name is Hannah. I'm 8 years old and I live in New Mexico. I have sickle cell and I'm going for a bone marrow transplant. And what I'm hoping it will be like is I know I'm going to get a port, so that's a surgery. And I know I'm going to have to lay in bed and be in the hospital for a few months. I hope we can do some fun things and different stuff that'll help me get through this.
So Hannah knows what she needs to do. She's very, like last night, she was having a problem with mucus in her throat. So that's gonna happen because the body's trying to protect itself. So it's gonna have mucus in different areas. So because of that, and because they want her to sit up so that that mucus doesn't collect and then get into her stomach and make her vomit. Because she's getting a feeding tube, so she needs to keep all of that liquid in her. So, but because she was sitting up, her head ends up going back like this. Hold on. Her head ends up going back like this because the pillow comes right here. So goes back, which restricts this. And so that with the mucus, so they had to take it down to the PICU, pediatric ICU, and that's where they're able to do this CPAP, which is a certain type of pressurized air. So she had that, and it's this whole mask. It's this whole headset configuration, and you know you have on. Have a seat, brother. You have on this whole headset, and you know it's connected to tubes that run into your nose, and that's connected to this whole other tube that's connected to the machine. So she was like, you know, she was bugging out. I showed her a picture of what it was like before, but then when she saw it and they tried to put it on, she was crying, and everybody, all the nurses are just talking. I was like, would you all just like be quiet for a second, because you're not helping.
Right, it's too much.
Yeah. How do you want it? Oh, it's okay. How do you want it? No. So I just whispered in her ear. I was like, sister, listen, this is something that you have to do. There's no way around it. I know you don't like it, but the faster we put this thing on, the faster we can get out of here. So that's how I approach it with her. The faster we can get this done, the faster we can get out of here. So she knows we don't have any time for you to, you know, hem and haw. No, you have to take this now. It's a timed thing. You take it now, because in X amount of time, you have to take it again. So we don't have that time for you to do that. So that's how I have to come at her, because otherwise this situation right now is not one where you can have too much emotion in terms of whether or not you like something or whether or not you want to do something. You can't have that emotion in this process. Everything you have to do and find a way to like it.
Navi, what's it like to see her like this right now?
Did you guys call her today on the app? Did. Did you talk to her?
No.
Okay.
So you haven't seen her with now is she still in the pic?
Yeah, she's no. Fortunately, she came out this morning. Because she only had to go down for a night because this particular it's called BiPAP. And so you have to start it in the intensive care unit let them get the levels adjusted right. And then once you get the levels adjusted, then you can go back to your regular floor.
Mm-hmm.
So Navi hasn't, have you seen her? Like on the app or anything like that? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
And
that's what it was like when you saw her.
I don't really know.
did it look weird? Did the thing that they had on her, the contraption, did it look weird?
No, because I could always see her face.
You could still see her face?
No, all I could see was her face.
Or they had her
Oh,
nose. You might not have seen her with it on. Yeah.
okay. Well, that's good. So now, what do you understand? How long is it going to take for her to be able to kind of move around like she was moving around before and to be able to eat? What type of process do you understand that she has to go through now?
I don't really know anything about that.
Okay. All right. Isatu, how about you? What are her next steps?
So her next step now is for her counts to start to come back up,
Mm-hmm.
specifically white blood cell counts and different aspects of the immune system, neutrophils, her ANC numbers, and things like that. And then, so the doctors feel that since she has her mucositis is healing, that a lot of her white blood cells are localized. So when they're going to get counts, they're not getting a real count because of the localization of the white blood cells in one area. So the rest of the body doesn't have, as much. So they said that when they get that even more under control, then they'll be able to get a better idea. But we're in that window right now of 21 to 28 days is normally where you start to see the elevation in the numbers. And then they have to do a test to determine whose cells are in Hannah's body now, Navi's cells or her cells. And that will confirm that the transplant worked.
Okay.
And by the way, I wanted to shout this young man out because the amount of bone marrow that he gave was the equivalent to, you know how you go to a store and you get $1 Poland Spring water bottle?
Yes.
That size.
That 16.9 ounce.
Yeah, okay, down to the point. Yeah. So he gave 16.9 ounces of bone marrow,
Wow.
which is 550 mils. And then when it got concentrated down and, all of the extra plasma and stuff was removed, it was 110 mils. And the doctors were like, this is astronomical. It's more than enough.
All right.
For her.
Way to go, Navi. Wow.
Yeah, so he did a great thing. He did his job and he did it well. He got a 4.0 in his first semester.
Exceedingly and abundantly.
Yes.
I think it'll be something he'll definitely understand when he gets older to the level of which he really contributed to his sister.
Yeah. I mean, we tell him constantly that we're extremely thankful for what he did, for his willingness to do it. And yeah, when he gets older, it'll really kick in, like, because it's not a small thing.
Now, you heard your dad talk about how in a couple of days that they'll be testing to see kind of whose cells are thriving inside. Are there any changes that you all have noticed that have occurred in her since the transplant?
Well, I can tell, I think everyone knows this, is she's a little more tired, less active, stuff like that.
Yeah, that definitely happens. Anything else? I know, Isatu, you were talking about kind of changes with skin and hair and things like that. So talk about that. What are some things that you've noticed and Tantawe have noticed?
Okay, so the effects of the chemo, and she had 17 rounds in like 7 days. She was getting it every 6 hours. So it's round the clock. So people who are like, oh yeah, you know, I had chemo. No, you have not had chemo like this.
Mm-hmm.
So the effects of that come, you know, a number of days or weeks after. So what happens is you get skin rashes, you get hyper and hypopigmentation. But literally what's happening is you're getting a new skin layer. Is what's happening. You're getting a new skin layer. I know some people will say, well, it's because of this and the interaction of this, but I'm coming from the level of what I see. She's getting a new skin layer, you know, so it is very interesting. It'll go dark, like her skin has gotten a lot darker, and kind of like how you'll have a scab, you know, and you know, the scab is dark, and then when it peels, the skin underneath is a lighter color than the rest of your skin, and then it evens out. So imagine that going on over the majority of your body.
Wow.
And then also she's getting a whole new taste bud, sense of taste. You know, she doesn't like anything because she can't really taste anything. So she likes sharp flavors like lemonades, bubbly stuff, sparkling waters. So she's getting a whole new taste bud. And what else? And so she had, you know, the mucositis, you know, some chest and stomach pain. She's retaining a lot of water, you know. So her weight she's got water weight, you know, a lot of water weight. So then it's trying to get that water off her with diuretics.
Yeah.
And then so, you know, you have certain things that affect one organ, and then, you know, it's the classic Western medicine situation. You give somebody something for this, it affects this. You give them something for that, it affects that, and then you got to give them this. But there's no way around it. Like, you know, there's no way around it.
Right. It definitely shows the interconnected nature of the body.
Oh, without question. Without question. Without question.
So now I know we had talked previously about, you know, going up, and eventually there'll come a point where you and the boys will head back down. And so when is that date coming, and how are you feeling about that?
That's supposed to happen August 2nd is when we're gonna, so a week from this coming Saturday. The boys start school August 17th. They're going to be going online.
Okay.
We have to quarantine when we go back to New Mexico, because New Mexico has a state ordinance where if you come from another state, you have to quarantine. So I'm not going back to work until conceivably August 17th. And then from there, it's a matter of finding childcare, because Tantawi and Hana are still going to be up here in Colorado.
Okay.
So, and normally Tantawi will hold the house down until I get home, and then she'll go to school. So she won't be there. So we're in an unknown situation, and that's awesome.
Right. Please explain to the viewers why that is awesome.
Because to me, like, you have no, it's the ultimate, all right, somebody gives you a box, right? It's like, let's make a deal. It's like you can have what's behind door number one, or you can have what's in my pocket right now. You have no ideas, totally unknown, but you're excited about possibilities of winning your brand new Corolla. You know what I mean? So with the unknown, it's like, I don't know how I'm gonna go to work, and they need, they need somebody home with them while they do their schoolwork. And then Kiddu's, he's only 4, so he needs childcare. I don't know who's going to do that. I don't know how I'm going to go to work and manage that. How much is this person going to charge me to watch the kids for 2 months? And then what about Tentawi? So like, there's a ton of stuff. And I have no clue how to go about doing this. I have one possible option that's in New Mexico, because we can't have somebody come from out of state, because they have to quarantine for 14 days before they can come into our house. So it has to be somebody from New Mexico, and then that somebody from New Mexico has to understand that they can't, run around and have this open, free life, because they're coming into our house to watch the kids, and then Hannah will be coming home. So we have to have it, clean and all of this stuff. So I have no idea how any of that is happening.
Now, when you hear your dad saying all of that, what goes through your mind?
Exactly what he's talking about. Like, yeah, basically.
Like, who's gonna do it, right? But now, have you seen this type of situation before? Like, where we're like, I don't know what we're gonna do, and
yes.
Right? And what happens?
Normally something just happens.
Right, right.
I was gonna say, you're describing it, but there is no part of you that looks worried in any way, shape, or form.
Nah, I mean, it can, because like, I gotta remain clean. I gotta remain clean, because if I'm like, oh, what are we gonna do this? What are we gonna do this? What are we gonna do this? And Tentawi knows, she's like, you take forever. She's like, you do everything the last minute. And I'm like, my time frame is 2 weeks, right? That's when I start to go into like, all right, let's get it done mode, because until then, I like to let spirit cook up the stew first, and I feel like if I'm like running all around, I have one option right now. I'm gonna call. We had 2 options. One option wasn't gonna work because he was coming from out of town. The other option lives in New Mexico, but I'm gonna call him tonight. But if he doesn't do it, I have no other options, right? And so I'm like, what am I supposed to do? I feel like the spirit world is sitting there with their ear to your mouth, right? And if you say, all right, maybe I'll go call so-and-so, I feel like they go and they start setting up the thing for so-and-so. And then you're like, well, he probably wouldn't do it. What about so-and-so? And they're like, all right. And they go over here. And then they're like, and then you say something else, and they're like, look, man, you got to give me some prime direction and shut up after that and let me go do my thing, because I feel like they respond. Like, you say something, they're going to it. You say it again, something contrary, you pull that out and say something else is going there. So that's why I'm like, unknown. I deal with what's in front of me, and that's it. And then after that, I'm gonna think about it, and it will happen.
All right, so 2 points of clarification, one from you and one from Navi. So for you, you said you have to stay clean. What does that mean?